different times.
8 different times.
The one that we're talking about is 1925. And they actually built a home for Abraham, filled it with mahogany furniture, and Judge Rutherford moved in when Abraham refused to show up.
John,
No lie. Okay.
one of the things that Deuteronomy says, not only that come to pass, but come true. They have to say things that are true. And for a long time, they said this home called Beth Sarim, House of Princes in San Diego, was for these faithful men of old, mentioned in Hebrews 11. Then in their 1975 yearbook, they said no. They didn't even mention anything about princes. They said this house was built for Judge Rutherford, for him to go as a home away from Brooklyn.
What did you folks, when you were in the Jehovah's Witnesses, when you got this in one statement, and a year or two later, or even a couple months later, it changes. What did you think?
I wasn't here in 1925.
Well, Joan and I were born into the Jehovah's Witness religion. In fact, Joan's parents lived through 1925 and 1914. And when we began reading the old books in the attic, Joan says, "Mom, you were selling this book from house to house, telling people the world's going to end in 1925 and Abraham would be here." She says, "Yes, but we didn't believe it." "No, not in 26, but you believed it in 23 and 22 and 1918. Our own parents lied to us. They actually lied to us. I said, "Dad, did we ever announce an end of the world for 1914? And they said, "We did not do it."
Give me another prophecy that's documented that would be evidence that what you're saying is true. In other words,
Here's
they are
the
false
book,
prophets.
Truth Shall Make You Free, page 285. It says that man will never, by airplane or rocket, ever get up above the air envelope which is about our earthly globe and in which man breathes.
When was that written?
1943.
1943. What did they say when man hit the moon?
Not much.
They forgot about the truth shall make you free.
How many prophecies are in their literature that are like that have been conveniently forgotten?
Over 100 that I have documented.
Where have you documented? Have you got this literature
We have a
someplace?
publication that Joan and I helped write. We left Jehovah's Witnesses a non-profit organization. Now, they claim to be a non-profit organization. We corrected their spelling a little.
I see.
In it, we've photographed the false prophecies made by Jehovah's Witnesses and how they corrected them after they failed. In fact, a Jehovah's Witness will sell you a book. Originally, it said the world's going to end before 1914. After 1914, same edition, they took out before and put in after. Isn't that a fantastic book? Did anybody come here tonight not knowing the world's going to end after 1914? Well, why buy the book for 50 cents? It'll tell you the same thing. The Jehovah's Witnesses have to cover up their past. They're behind. They're ashamed of it. And they have to. Every false prophet is.
All right. Ken?
We were constantly told about old light, new light. And old light meaning something that they believed back in Rutherford's time or Russell's time, and new light being the way they believe now. And that, in what they're saying is that what they thought was the truth then really wasn't the truth, so they went from old light to the new light, which is getting the lighter.
Brighter and brighter.
Except
We're not encouraged to go into the old publications. You were kept so busy with the new light because that was the best, and so I never bothered to check.
We want to talk about something that you told me on the side that was very interesting. Bill, you were telling me that when you came into the Jehovah's Witnesses, they had a rule that stated that you could not marry. Obviously, you and Joan are married. What happened?
I'd like to preface that before I answer it with this statement, that the president of Jehovah's Witnesses, under oath in a courtroom in New York City, was asked, who is the editor of the Watchtower magazine? He said, Jehovah God. The Watchtower of 1938, November 1st issue, says, question, should they marry? Answer, no, is the answer supported by the scriptures. I was 8 years old at the time. I remember those days when people were not allowed to marry. Why did Joan and I get married? Because in 1952, the president of Jehovah's Witnesses obviously violated God's law by getting married. If the president can get married, I thought us in the lower echelons could also marry in the rank and file. I asked Joan if she would marry me, and she said yes.
In other words, before that time, nobody got married, and the thing is, what did the president say? Did he say anything?
Nothing, really.
Before that, if you were married from 38 to 50, it would be on the, you would be a weak, lukewarm Jehovah's Witness, not willing to give your full
Yes.
energies to selling books for 50 cents that cost 7 cents to print, and you make no profit.
I became a witness in 1950, and I know when I came in there, about a year later, there was a girl in our congregation that was pregnant, so I wanted to give her a baby shower. And she was thrilled to death. This was her second child, and she said the first child, no one would speak to her through the whole 9 months, let alone have a baby shower. She was looked down upon because she got pregnant. So it wasn't only getting married. If you want to get married, for heaven's sakes, don't have children.
The real reason, John, for prohibiting marriage is to fulfill what the apostle said in the book of Timothy, that the false prophets would forbid marriage. So it's just a fulfillment of something that Jesus said 2,000 years ago.
To be fair to the witnesses at this point, is it fair to let the president, who apparently, according to that affidavit that you read, can speak for God, can God change his mind? Apparently he must have.
Back and forth.
Jesus didn't change his mind, and Jesus didn't write the Watchtower. Jehovah's Witnesses president just did what he wanted to prove that he is the authority or the prophet
Okay, we have
for
a
the
question here.
When you were Jehovah's Witness, how did you view Orthodox Christianity?
We were trained, we knew that all religions were of the god of this world, Satan. The
Run that by
colloquial
us again.
expression,
Every religion?
every religion was of Satan. In fact, that is clearly explained in the February 15th issue of the Watchtower in 1955, that categorically takes all the branches of the Christian church and destroys them by saying, if you believed in the Trinity, number one, you are not God's religion. The only white one is Jehovah's Witnesses.
Let's get some background on you, because these folks need to know how much you do know. Bill, tell us a little bit about your background in your rise in the echelons of the
I was born
Watchtower
at a
Society.
very early age to two Jehovah's Witnesses, my mother and father. I would listen to my parents, who taught me two things. Number one, the Bible is God's book. Number two, the Watchtower president talks to angels. He gets information directly from heaven, and he will interpret, explain the Bible to you.
Does the society papers, I mean, does the Watchtower magazine actually say that the
The
president talks
Watchtower
to angels?
magazine said, you can not learn about God through the Bible alone. You must read Watchtower publications, and you will learn about God even if you've never read one page out of the Bible. But if you read the Watchtower publications, you will know about God.
So a guy that's just got the Bible and not the Watchtower magazine can't make it.
Can't make it.
That's
John,
leaning on your own understanding, and that's verboten.
Well, let's go on back, Bill. Okay, you're born to be close to your mother. Okay, what
Okay.
else?
All right. My parents taught me those two principal items. I wanted to be with God's visible theocratic organization. I wanted to see how the president of Jehovah's Witnesses holds his fork. He must hold it just right. And so I wanted to work at the Watchtower headquarters, give my whole life to it, and on January 1st, 1950, I was invited to work at the Watchtower headquarters. I got a fantastic job washing dishes, and the next day I became a waiter, and in 6 months I was working in the Watchtower offices, and a year later I was answering questions for 1/3 of the United States, starting at the Mason-Dixon line south to Texas. One of the first questions was, is it really a violation of God's law to have a smallpox vaccination? Now, I knew the answer to that without looking up any books, because I lived through it. My wife is a fourth-generation Jehovah's Witness whose parents took her to a doctor in Camden, New Jersey, who took acid and burned a hole in Joan's leg to simulate a smallpox vaccination, and then signed a certificate that she was vaccinated. Joan had to go to school lying to the principal and to the school board and to the teachers that she had a smallpox vaccination.
For people that don't know, why did the Jehovah's Witnesses forbid?
Said that the Bible forbids mixing animal blood with human blood. They didn't even understand what that meant. But they said that you vaka, cow, innate man. You take cow's blood, put cowpox in it, and inject it into the arm. I took a trip to Parmalee, New Jersey, where they make smallpox vaccine right after I answered that question, and they said it's made out of eggs. The process is called avionization. I said, where's the blood? They said, what blood? I said, God said there's blood in smallpox vaccine. Where is it?